How are you guys? Y'all, I was about to get ready for bed and I forgot I got work to do. So I'm on here, you guys. I did get some Diddy trial footage for today. So we're gonna go over that right now. So yay, let's get into it. I sure almost forgot. So anyway, excuse me. So pretty much today is like the sixth day of the trial, right? Don Richards testified first. Defense said Friday that they didn't want Don's testimony because it was completely irrelevant. What's up, Chris? What's going on? So, the judge asked the government um, um, so they were arguing over whether or not Don should testify today. So the government was going back and forth. The judge was asking some questions. Then he said he will rule on Monday. So I believe the on Friday, this past Friday, um, the defense, Diddy's team, did not want Dawn to testify. They said that her testimony was irrelevant, and it wasn't needed. Anyway, the government said no, her testament is needed. The judge said he will rule on Monday. Today is Monday. The judge did rule in the prosecution's favor. So, of course, Don Richards did take the stand today. Just to let you all know, court did end early today. The judge did make it clear that most of this week, court may end around 3:30 ish. So last week, court was ending around 5 p.m. But this week, it looks like court is going to end. What is all that? Court is going to end a whole lot sooner. Yeah. So, what's up, Jaden? How are you? Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel here. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. So, Tinny Gergos, she went first. She is Mark Geragos. I believe his name is Mark. She's his daughter, and she's working for Diddy. So a lot of people were saying that Geragos was working for Diddy, but it's not. His daughter, Teeny, is. And she was the first defense that um, went up. She was up first this morning. And she interviewed Dawn. What's going on, Mohan? Hello, hello. Happy birthday, Jaden. Yeah. Happy birthday to you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel here. I really would appreciate it. And give me a thumbs up. All right. I'm going over the Diddy case today. Don Richards did Richard or Richard? Richard. Richard. Don Richard. She did testify today. David James and Kerry Morgan. So it's a lot of scoop today, you guys. What's up, Kyler? What's up, Pato? Pato Compile from Brazil. What's going on, Kyler? From Japan. Konnichiwa? Is that Japanese? I'm not sure. What's up? Hello, hello. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, okay? So let's see here. Um, yes. So there are documents they talked about not being on the docket. So what happened was last week and the week before, the defense would keep producing documents that weren't on the docket to be shown. And when that happens in court, the it's not fair to the prosecution if the defense have documents that they're going to present and the prosecution hasn't seen it, because they wouldn't like it if the prosecution had documents and the defense doesn't see it. So they kept having sidebar conversations last week and the week before. There, the guy from Inner City Press, he actually made a claim or sent a letter to the judge saying that he wanted to know what was in those private filings, what was talked about when they had those sidebar conversations and stuff. So it's real crazy. I was like, oh my goodness. And this was the guy from Inner City Press. And mind you, he's the guy, one of the reporters that's in the actual courtroom, and he gives a whole bunch of notes all day. Most of my footage or my coverage comes from him because he just writes out the questions and you could just read right through it. But so the judge responded to him today and told him that he would let him be in charge of getting the documents and putting them in order and all. And he said they could go over every Tuesday. So the guy from Inner City Press, I believe his name is Mark. Why everybody named Mark? Mark or Max or something. I don't know. So Inner City Press, he actually was going kind of back and forth with the judge just to make sure that he would get the documents, or he would get the documents as soon as possible. But I believe they were pretty much trying to put it out for a week at a time, like let him see the documents every week, once a week. But anyway, so the judge did agree to let Inner City Press see the document so he can find out what was going on those sidebars, and what the defense and the prosecution were not in agreement about, that the rest of the court couldn't hear about. So that's pretty good. The judge seems to be very fair when it comes to that there. Anyway, let's see here. So the government, hold up. Okay, all right. So Tinny Garagos, she went first questioning Don. And I don't have much of her questions here. It looks like it went from Teeny Garagos to Mark Agnifilio. So he asked Don, I don't know what the relevance this has to this case. Um, the government said that Don's testimony is showing the means and the methods of the enterprise. So pretty much the government is saying was arguing with the defense that Don's testimony is going to show how there were people in line that worked for Diddy that were hiding stuff, that were holding people against their will, that was seeing criminal activity and wasn't even doing anything about it. So they went back and forth about that. Um, so then the judge tells Inner City Press that, of course, he could get those documents. Hold up, let's see here. Then Don gets questioned by the government. When Diddy told you people could go missing, what did you interpret that to be? She said she would be scared because she thought that mean that people would come up deleted. Um, Dawn said she saw Cassie being dragged, being beat, being kicked by Diddy, kicked in the face. When she would speak up for herself, the government asked, "What security did you see there?" Dawn said, D Rock and Roger Bonds. So it was definitely a lot of Diddy staff that was around during the time that he was abusing Cassie, which is a crime because abusing a person is a crime. And these people are on Diddy's payroll. They're not doing anything to protect her, even though not only morally, but legally, you really should protect someone who's getting their behind whipped. There were a couple of times that Cassie was beat so bad, people didn't think she was going to make it. So, and in those situations also, they wouldn't do anything because they were on Diddy's payroll. It's crazy. Um, let's see here. So Don said Cassie had a black swollen eye. Um, so what had happened was there was a performance, not a performance. Dawn, Cassie, and the other girl who was in the Dirty Money um group. I forgot her name. Kalani, not Kalani, something like that. Anyway, the other girl who was in the Dirty Money, because Dawn was a part of the Dirty Money group, her, Diddy, and that other girl. So the two girls from the Dirty Money group and Cassie wore glasses to an event they went to later on that evening after Cassie got beat up. So Cassie wore dark glasses, and the other two girls wore dark glasses as well because they wanted to show Cassie that they supported her and that she didn't have to wear her dark glasses all by herself, even though the event probably was bright and sunny and everybody probably wanted to see her face. But anyway, they said they felt so bad for Cassie that that was their way of, or Don said that was their way of supporting Cassie during that time. They showed a picture of Cassie wearing glasses at Central Park and asked if this was the time. And so, yeah, so they went to Central Park because there was an event in Central Park, and that's when they wore the dark glasses together. Let's see here. What else do I have? Okay. So the government said there was another assault. Who was there? And Dawn said D Rock and Capricorn Clark. So I hold up, wait a minute. Dawn said that D Rock was there, Capricorn Clark, Harv Pierre, and the government asked who was Mr. Pierre. Dawn said he would do things for Diddy. Like he answered to Diddy, pretty much. Capricorn Clark name is coming up a whole lot. I wonder if she's going to testify as well during this trial. It was rumored that she was the sister of Lauren Hill, Lauren London, but Lauren London, the one who went with Nipsey Hussle, which I believe that was the setup with him being deleted as well, probably from Diddy's camp or Jay-Z's, but that's allegedly. I don't know. But so Capricorn Clark and Lauren London are not sisters. They're just like play sisters. So they say that a lot, that they are sisters, but they're not actually sisters. And I believe, allegedly, Capricorn Clark sued Diddy and won a settlement herself because she was abused by Diddy also. So that'll be interesting if she does take the stand. Let's see here. The government asked, what did all of you all do when y'all saw Cassie being beat by Diddy? And she said, no one did anything. And Dawn said she was wondering to herself, if Diddy did that to someone he supposedly loved, what would he do to her? So she said she was fearful. She didn't want to get hit like that. She didn't want to get kicked. She didn't want to get beat. Okay. Now, remember, Dawn talked about Cassie being hit upside the head with the frying pan by Diddy. Okay. So, if somebody got the courage to hit somebody in the face with a frying pan, I'm not going to step to them unless I got a weapon or could get away from them or something real quick, because they going to hit me with that frying pan also. So, let's see here. She said she saw Diddy use marijuana, that ketamine, Molly, cocoa, the cocaine, but not opiates. The government asks who brought the rugs, with the D. Don said One Stop. So I guess there's a guy called One Stop, or a person named One Stop. And she also said he had everything, including Plan B and birth control. Diddy, the government asks, did you see Diddy with Pow Pows? Y'all know what that means. Don said, yes, he had a hand Pow Pow in the back and on his lower back. So probably in his pants on his lower back. I'm not quite sure. The government asks who else had Pow Pows. Dawn said D Rock and Roger Bonds. Dawn said she saw after she left Bad Boy, because I believe Diddy canceled the group they had, the Dirty Money group. He canceled that, and Dawn said after that she was just doing singing gigs. Let's see here. She said when she would have, like, when she would do performances of her own, because she started doing her own thing as a solo artist, Dawn said that Diddy will always FaceTime her. Um, the government asked, how did you speak to Diddy? Dawn said she spoke very softly because she was intimidated. She called him bro. She said Harv Pierre and Diddy told her not to say anything to anyone about the abuse that Diddy was doing to Cassie. She said she needed she tried not to look too sexual or be flirty at all with Diddy. So she said um she kept everything professional when she dealt with Diddy. She said Diddy was very disrespectful. He would say a lot of mean stuff, called people a lot of names, especially her and other band members from the other groups. So she already knew to keep like a low profile. She pretty much wanted to stay off his radar. So she said she would call him bro, because she wanted him to feel like, this is like a brother sister friendship going on. Um, she said she spoke out in 2024. She said she saw Cassie set up, speak out and tell the truth. And Westmoreland, I believe her name is Nicole Westmoreland. She is on the defense team for Diddy. She said objection, objection, Your Honor, because I guess that's Dawn's opinion that she heard Cassie step up and speak up for herself, and she felt like that was truthful. So Westmoreland was like, objection, you can't say that that was truthful. Um, the defense questions Dawn. So now I believe um, Nicole Westmoreland starts questioning Dawn. Let's see here. So Westmoreland asks, you sat with the prosecution, and your allegations have changed. Don says, no, it hasn't. The defense said, did you say that the pan hit the wall? Don said, I don't recall that. Um, she said, this is a period between 2009 and 2011. Don was with Diddy and Dirty Money. Let's see here. Westmoreland asks, wouldn't you agree that your story keeps changing, Dawn? Dawn says, no, I haven't. I wouldn't say that. The defense asks, you didn't tell the government, the federal government, that Diddy said people go missing. Dawn said, that's not true. The defense asked, it was you that asked Diddy to work with him, right? After the group had ended, the Dirty Money group had ended. Dawn said, yes, it was. She says that she needed more money. She felt like if the group came back, then she can get some money. Dawn also stated that she didn't get paid. Most of the time that she worked for Diddy, she didn't even get paid. Let's see here. The songs you released with Danity Kane made more money than the songs you made with Dirty Money album. The defense asked. Dawn said yes. Now that's not helping the Dawn's defense unless, excuse me, that's not helping Diddy's defense unless they're trying to say that pretty much Dawn wasn't any good. Like without that group or without a group, she wasn't any good. Probably leading up to why Dawn actually tried to sue Diddy. Because if you don't know, Dawn attempted to sue Diddy, but I believe her case got dismissed. I'm not sure, but she's now, she's testifying on Cassie's behalf and the prosecution behalf now. Let's see here. The defense asked, so you needed money, that's why you work with Diddy, right? She said, yes. The government's questioning, why did you reach out to Diddy? Dawn said one of the judges on Making the Band, Lori Ann Gibson, wanted me to reach out. Nicole Westmoreland said, objection, objection. So the federal government asked Dawn about one of the times she reached out to Diddy, I guess trying to get some clarification on why Dawn actually reached out to Diddy. But Dawn was about to bring Lori Gibson in the conversation, and the defense went crazy. They were like, no, objection, objection. So they didn't want Lori's name to come up at all. And I wonder if Lori would be one of the people to testify as well, because Lori also had a situation where Diddy allegedly, one of the guys from the guys who sung Do Me Baby, what is the name of that group? Oh my goodness. Anyway, allegedly Diddy hit Lori Gibson with a chair or a table or something. What's up, Brayden? Thanks for coming back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So yeah, so a situation happened with Diddy and Lori Gibson during the time they were on Making the Band, and I believe she quit and Diddy like begged for her to come back. So I'm not sure what he had to promise her or give her to get her to come back, but that's probably why the defense did not want to hear her name in the court. So they object to that very quick. So let's see here. So Dawn was trying to tell why one of the times she did call Diddy. So I guess Lori Lori Gibson was trying to get her to call him for some reason. Anyway, the judge said sustained. The government continued asking questions. The government asked, how often would you hear from Diddy after you left the group? Dawn said scarcely. So not much at all, just every now and then. Then they have then they had like their third or fourth sidebar conversation, because I told you that the defense and the prosecution keep having sidebar conversations during this trial that no one can hear about. And they don't even tell once they finish what happened during the sidebar, or what's going on. So they've been doing that a whole lot. They finish, then the defense questions, they defense with the defense questions. Oh no, they finished with the sidebar, and then Dawn came back and was questioned by the defense. You sued for money, right? She said yes. Then they went on break. So really, they didn't want Dawn on that stand at all. The defense did not want Dawn on that stand. So her questioning was not that long, and not that often. They really couldn't trip her up, but she really wasn't going to help the defense at all. So pretty much they didn't really question her much at all. So then Kerry Morgan got up on the stand to testify. She used to be a friend of Cassie. Her and Cassie were friends for like 17 years or something. They both started out modeling together when they was very young. Kerry Morgan testified today that Cassie used to make $1 million a year doing modeling. So, yeah, they were like best friends. And then Kerry Morgan said she was just, once Diddy assaulted her, then that's when their friendship ended. So, let's get into it. So, the government asked, "Where do you live?" She said, "Los Angeles." Who is this? Showing a picture of Cassie to Kerry Morgan, and she said, Cassandra Ventura. What was your relationship? Kerry said, "We were friends, but her boyfriend assaulted me." And then the government asked Kerry, "Do you see him in here?" And she said, "Yes." And she pointed at Diddy. Kerry said her and Cassie were friends from 2001 to 2018. She said she didn't want to testify, but she was subpoenaed, so that's why she was there. Um, oh, she said she met Cassie at a modeling shoot. Let's see here. Oh, and during this time, Diddy was very engaged in court. He took a whole lot of notes and he was passing a whole lot of sticky notes. Inner City Press was stating at this time. And he had a briefcase. He had a briefcase, and they believe in his briefcase was documents, sticky notes, and a Bible. Okay. The government asked, "Did Cassie do a lot of rugs with the D and alcohol?" Kerry Morgan said no, not much, not much rugs. Until she got with Diddy, and they did a lot of them, like Molly, ecstasy, 420. Somebody said 420. That's why I wrote it, but you know what 420 is? The marijuana. Which did Diddy take? The government asked. Kerry said all of them. Did you take rugs with Cassie? Um, Opiates. Kerry Morgan agreed or answered. Did you travel with Diddy and Cassie? Yes, she said. Did Diddy disrespect Cassie in front of you? She said yes. She said the first time was in Hollywood Hills. And they asked, what did Diddy do? She said Diddy kicked her, and Ruben was there. Carrie said she told Ruben to do something, and he said no. So I believe Ruben was one of Diddy bodyguards at that time. And here we go again with someone being a employee, with a high position and not doing anything about assault. Carrie said she asked Ruben to jump in, to step in and help Cassie not get beat up. And he said no. Um, she said Cassie would do nothing when she would just get beat. She would do nothing. She would ball up. Then what happened? Carrie said we left the house. Cassie and I was hiding by someone's front steps. So I guess during that fight in the Hollywood Hills, Cassie and Carrie got up out of there and were hiding from Diddy, and were actually hiding by someone's steps, like one of the neighbors' steps. So that's real bad. They had to run out the house and they're hiding on the ground. Um, let's see here. Morgan said Diddy had mood swings and would be very aggressive. Kerry said Diddy often talked down to Cassie. He beat her one time in Jamaica and then in LA. LA was the house in the Hollywood Hills. Um, he would call her phone, he would call Carrie's phone over 50 times trying to get in touch with Cassie. Kerry Morgan said both times she saw the assault, Diddy looked sober. So that's interesting. Kerry saying that when she saw Diddy assault Cassie, he looked sober. He didn't look high, she was saying. So I don't know what that's about. In Jamaica, Diddy dragged Cassie by her hair, and I went to get my purse and phone so we could leave. I thought Cassie was knocked out, but she jumped up and took off in the woods. So what happened was when Cassie, Carrie, and Diddy went to Jamaica, I'm not sure who else was with them, but I'm pretty sure his bodyguards and everything. And a lot of Diddy people will always travel with him and Cassie would call these people her friends, which really made Carrie feel some type of way because when Diddy would beat Cassie, the friends wouldn't step in. No one would say anything. And then, of course, Carrie said stuff and she tried to help, but she didn't want to get beat up herself. But so they were in Jamaica and Diddy was beating up Cassie and they tried to run up out of there. And during this time, they ran and hid in a ditch trying to get away from Diddy, y'all. Do you hear me? Hold on, you guys. All right. I'm back. Sorry about that, you guys. What's up, Jeff? I know you're probably not on here now, but if you guys watch the playback, what's up, Jeff? I'm back. I'm back. Okay, so Kerry Morgan is on trial at this point, okay? And she is giving her testimony, telling how her and Cassie, both times she witnessed Cassie being beat up by Diddy, both times they had to pretty much escape and run away and hide on the ground from Diddy. Now, why is this sounding like the movie Blink Twice? It's really giving me Blink Twice vibes here. But let's get back to it. Um Oh, so what happened was in Jamaica, um, Diddy was showing out with Cassie. He was beating her. Cassie fell down and hit her head on a brick. Carrie was scared because Cassie didn't move after she fell down and hit her head on that brick. So Carrie was thinking that Cassie might have, was deleted right then and there. So she started yelling for someone to help. And then Cassie jumps up and takes off running in the woods. And then Carrie said she took off running and she saw a golf cart and she went and grabbed the golf cart and she was trying to find Cassie, and Diddy jumped on one of the golf carts because it was two there. And I swear it sounds like a movie right now. But then Diddy got on the golf cart and he was looking for them as well. But once Carrie saw Cassie, they got up out of there. Somehow they were hiding in a ditch trying to hide from Diddy. This is why they were in Jamaica. Um, okay, so what happened was, I'm reading over my notes. I'm sorry, you guys. So what happened was, remember when Diddy beat Cassie in that hotel? And then we know that the testimony from the security guard says that the security guard, he made sure Cassie got in the Uber or whatever. She got in her ride and she left. Well, when she left, she went to her apartment and Kerry Morgan was at her apartment, because what happened was during that time right there, Cassie had some type of event that was going on either before or after that situation happened at the hotel. And Kerry Morgan came to support Cassie during that time. So she stayed at Cassie's house while Cassie went and did the freak off and came back the next day. And she said when Cassie came back, she had a hood on, a dark hood on. And she said Cassie's face looked swollen. And Cassie wouldn't say anything. She came in the house and she went and sat on the couch. And Carrie said that Diddy came to the house banging on the door and he had a hammer. He had a hammer in his hand and he was banging on the door and hitting the door with the hammer. And Carrie testified that she did not call the police. She believes someone in the building called the police because of all the noise Diddy was making. They never did answer the door. The police came. Cassie would not talk to the police. She wouldn't give them any information, not her name, not her ID. So Carrie said the police couldn't do anything because she wouldn't tell anything. But they can see that she was badly beat up, but Cassie wouldn't say anything at all. So they left Cassie their card, the officers, and then they left. So Cassie, I guess Carrie was probably trying to tell Cassie, you need to maybe threaten Diddy or something with this. Let him think that an officer did come by here. So I don't know what happened right there. For some reason, Cassie told Carrie to text the the officer's card to Diddy and his PA, his personal assistant, KK. Something Karan, whatever her name is. I call her KK because that's the name I've heard of her go by. But yeah, so the same day that they had that fight at the hotel, Cassie leaves the hotel, and we didn't know what happened that day because nobody really talked about it. But come to find out, Cassie went home, and good thing her friend was there because she probably would have just went ahead and opened the door for Diddy and let him in. But he came to her house with a hammer. Now I don't know what he was going to do with that hammer, and they didn't know either, so they didn't open the door. But Cassie would not talk to the police. But she wanted to threaten him by making him feel like she had talked to a police officer. Because she told her friend, Kerry, to send a picture of the police officer's card to Diddy and KK, which I don't know. Playing around, they're just playing games. That's what it sounds like to me. Playing a whole lot of games. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so let's see here. So Kerry said he didn't get in. Cassie wouldn't show her ID to the officer, so they didn't do anything. Kerry said she sent the picture to Diddy and KK with the police officer's card. Kerry said Cassie would scream when Diddy would beat her. Kerry said that Cassie's screams would sound guttural and terrifying. I don't know what guttural is, but I can imagine if someone's kicking you in your face, stomping you in your face, stomping you, I can imagine how scary those screams probably do sound. Carrie said that day from the hotel, Cassie went to Carrie's apartment. Okay, I'm not quite sure if Cassie went to Carrie's apartment or if Carrie was already at Cassie's apartment. I'm not sure. I know Cassie had an event either before that freak off time frame or after, but Carrie was there to support Cassie. That's why they were together around that time. Carrie said Cassie just sat on the couch unbothered that day when she came in the house real quick with the black hooded sweater on, which is the same black hooded sweater she had on when she was at the hotel getting beat up. Um, um, so something happened with so Diddy somehow went to, I'm not sure if Diddy went to Carrie's apartment or if Carrie was at Cassie's apartment during this time. So something happened. Diddy came up to the room and came up to an apartment, either Cassie's apartment or Carrie's apartment. And Carrie didn't know that Diddy had came in. It must have been, I'm assuming this was Cassie's apartment at this time. So Diddy just came into the apartment and he saw Carrie in there and he grabbed her from behind and started choking her. And then he threw her down on the ground and he picked up a wooden hanger and he threw the wooden hanger at her and it hit her behind her right ear, I believe. And it hit her so hard she almost she said when she went to the urgent care, because she didn't go to the hospital or the emergency room, she went to urgent care. They told her she had a concussion. So she said she was throwing up, she was sick, um, and she was real hurt after Diddy had put his hands on her. So Diddy walked up on her when she was in the apartment standing and assaulted her. And this is the last conversation. This is the last time Carrie was friends with Cassie. So her and Cassie was together. Diddy wanted to question Kerry about who Cassie was dating at the time, and Kerry said she didn't know who Cassie was dating at the time because she said she just didn't know, and she said Diddy would be dating different females. Cassie would be dating people when she wasn't dealing with Diddy, and Diddy would always be jealous. So it was just a lot going on. But that hanger incident, Diddy threw that wooden hanger. It hit Carrie behind, like, I guess, behind her ear. And Diddy was choking her out. And when she went to the urgent care, because she left there, went to the urgent care, and they told her she had a concussion. And then she told Cassie, she thought Cassie was going to stand by her, but Cassie told her that she was overreacting, and um she didn't have to overreact. So Carrie was like she's just done with Diddy, with Cassie, and because of her and Diddy's relationship. And she said that Diddy and Cassie gave her a settlement, um gave her some funds. I guess maybe she threatened to tell. I don't know. It's very unclear there if Carrie threatened to tell what had happened or if Diddy just told Cassie, look, go handle my light work, which is racketeering when you got people handling fraudulent or um, unethical practices and you got them doing stuff that's illegal, people that's on your payroll, because Cassie was definitely on Diddy's payroll. Um, so Diddy got Cassie to go handle it or settle it with Kerry. Kerry requested $30,000. She said Cassie met her at a pizza joint and she gave her the money, and she said that was the last time she talked to Cassie because she felt like Cassie didn't support her in the during that time. She said she felt like Cassie was trying to make her feel like she was overreacting. So when she said that, it made me feel like she must have requested some money or something, and Diddy told Cassie to go give it to her. So, let's see here. Um, Carrie said in her during her statement that Ryan was there as well, and then come to find out later on, Ryan was a personal assistant of Diddy. So I guess we'll find out more about Ryan, whoever this person is, this week. Let's see here. Carrie said Ryan was there doing nothing during that time, when she got hit with the hanger. So I guess probably just sitting back watching Diddy, letting him do what he do. Ryan probably ain't want to get in that mess either, just like Carrie didn't. Um, Carrie told Cassie that she should leave Diddy plenty of times, and sometimes she told her, she felt like, they were a good couple. Carrie said that Cassie and Diddy, they fought a lot. Diddy beat Cassie a lot. Um, let's see here. Oh, Cassie also had Carrie to sign an NDA. So Carrie signed the NDA the same time she got that $30,000 as well. And she said she stopped dealing with Cassie then. Carrie said that most of Cassie's friends work for Diddy. So Diddy would always talk about her friends and stuff, but they were on Diddy's payroll. So if Diddy was to abuse Cassie, she can't call none of those friends because they're going to just tell Diddy where she's at, during the time when she's trying to run. Because there were times that Cassie was trying to get away from Diddy. But Diddy was paying for her apartment, so he knew where she was staying most of the time. But him or his staff would go pick Cassie up and drag her back to Diddy, or take Cassie's phone or her iPod, take her car. Diddy would even take her car because he paid for that as well. Let's see here. Cassie said that Diddy had a strong hold on Cassie because all Cassie friends was Diddy friends. Diddy took care of Cassie in every way: her place to stay, her residence, her car, her cell phone. Okay, all right. Let's see here. Okay. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel. I know it gets a little long and boring going over these um the court information, but it's exciting at the same time, you guys. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel here and give me a thumbs up. Okay. So there's a guy named Clayton Howard that I believe he's going to testify as well. I believe he is one of those escorts, but I'm not quite sure. I don't really know who Clayton Howard is. They talked about his name today in court, um, wondering whether or not he was going to testify. Let's see here. Oh, I didn't know that Mark Agnifilio, Mark Agnifilio, which is one of Diddy's lawyers. If you don't know, Diddy has like 4 or 5 lawyers that he's paying for very good. But Mark Agnifilio, he is also the lawyer for the United Healthcare company. If you don't remember, there was a shooter who shot the president. I believe the guy was the president at the time of United Healthcare. So they're going through a trial as well, probably real soon. And Mark Agnifilio, he is one of the lawyers for them. So I just thought that was real interesting. Carrie said Cassie would be jealous of Kim Porter. She was asked that, and she made it very clear that Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter. And she said that she knew Cassie was jealous because for New Year's Eve, Cassie couldn't attend Diddy's New Year's Eve parties because Kim would be there and his family. So I guess Diddy had parties for family members, and that didn't include Cassie. Now we're going to talk about that situation there because that's deep right there. But anyway, back to it. So Diddy sent Cassie to get Kerry to sign the NDA and give her the money. Diddy is so dirty. They went to lunch. They went to lunch after that. Mark Agnifilio cross examined Kerry once they came back from lunch. Um, he asked, was Kerry ever jealous of Kim Porter? And she said, yes. Um, he said, you both lived in New York. Kerry said, yes, she lived downtown New York. She said Cassie lived in Harlem. Um, So Mark Agnifilio asks, would Diddy be jealous of Cassie? And Kerry said, yes, he was jealous of Michael B. Jordan when we were in South Africa. So she also knew about Michael Jordan as well. But Kerry said that Cassie and Michael B. Jordan they weren't dating, they were just talking. But Diddy got real jealous of that situation, and Cassie left Michael B. Jordan alone real quick. So it's rumored, allegedly, during that time frame when Michael B. Jordan and Cassie, I guess they were working on a movie or something together. I never saw the movie or even heard about it. I'll have to look that up. But it's rumored, allegedly, that Michael B. Jordan and P. Diddy got very close that year. I forgot who that was. Someone said that during that time frame, that P. Diddy and Michael B. Jordan were seen in a lot of different places. So that would make sense if Diddy is just crazy, crazy, full of rage. Of course, he wanted to. What they say about keep your enemies close, even though Michael B. Jordan probably didn't even know he was the enemy. But it seems that maybe Diddy stayed real close to Michael B. Jordan to make sure he wasn't messing with Cassie. So, Mark Agnifilio asks Kerry, did she know Gina? Kerry said yes. Diddy was having a full on relationship with that little girl. Mark Agnifilio asks, why did you call her a little girl? Carrie said she was younger than us and she always acted like a little girl. So I could see that with Gina. Gina is very. If you watch the interview Gina did with Tasha K, and if you haven't seen it, make sure y'all go check that interview out because Gina did that interview years ago before all this stuff came out. So Gina was telling the same story that Diddy was stomping her. She said she had a miscarriage because Diddy stomped the baby out of her. So she went into great detail talking about Diddy with Tasha K, and then turned around and went right back to Diddy right after that interview aired. But Carrie was asked if she knew her. Let's see here. And Agnifilio asked who called the police when they came. Carrie said she believed it was a noise complaint. So I told y'all how the lawyers go back and forth. They ask this question, ask that question, then it come right back to that first question. So Mark Agnifilio, he went right back to that question, trying to figure out who called the police that day that the police came. And Cassie didn't say anything. And Carrie said she didn't know who called the police. Now, when Cassie testified, she was asked who called the police during that time, and Cassie said during her testimony that Kerry called the police. And so now in Kerry's testimony, she's saying she doesn't know who called the police. She believed it was a noise complaint, and they sent the police right to their house once they got there. So I guess I wonder if that's going to come back up later on in this case, or if they're going to be trying to get Cassie to come back to the court to testify again. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Let's see here. Oh, Carrie said there was a noise complaint. Cassie wouldn't tell them anything. She was visibly beaten. They left a card. Diddy is seen passing notes to his lawyers at this time. Agnifilio asks, why haven't you spoke to Cassie? Carrie said she did not support me after the assault. Agnifilio asks, Cassie, did you pay? Oh, asked Carrie, did Cassie pay some of the money that she received? And Carrie said no. Diddy paid all that money to her. She said Cassie didn't pay that money, and Agnifilio said that oh no, Cassie put some money with the money that Diddy gave. And Carrie said, all I know is Cassie gave me the money, and I believe it had came from Diddy. Agnifilio asked if Carrie knew Lois Hay. She's a self-help author. And he asked also, why did you send this? And I guess he showed Carrie something. And Carrie said, I didn't send that. So then the government said objection. They start talking about it in court. I'm not sure where they were trying to go with that, trying to say that maybe Kerry sent a letter or maybe like a motivational quote or something. I don't know. They didn't go into details about that, but I do know Lois Hayes or Hay. She is like a self-help motivational speaker. I see her stuff on YouTube a lot. So, I'm not sure where they were going to go with that, but the government just got rid of it real quick. Let's see here. Agnifilio shows her that picture. Shows her a picture, and he asks, "Where were no?" He said, "Were you and Cassie using substances during the incident with Diddy?" Kerry said, "No." Did you go to the hospital? Carrie said, no, I went to the urgent care. So then the government came back and they cross-examined Carrie, and they said, so back in Jamaica, you said Cassie was beaten and dragged. And Carrie said, yes, down a 50-yard hallway. And they asked why. And Carrie said, because he said she spent too long of a time in the bathroom. Um, and Carrie was also asked, did you think they were in love? And Carrie asked, yes. And Carrie answered, yes. So that was the government asking Carrie those questions there, which probably just trying to make sure that the jury knows that Diddy not only beat Cassie when he was under the influence of substances, but when he wasn't also under the influence of substances, he also beat her for just random stuff like just being in the bathroom. So then they moved to the next witness, and this witness name is David James, and he was Diddy's personal assistant for a little bit. So the government called David James. They asked why did he come to court, and he said he was subpoenaed to come to trial. He's Diddy's personal assistant and went to college in Michigan. He said that he faxed in his resume to the Bad Boy company. He met with Tommy and Diddy's sister Keisha. He said they gave me 40 appointments and asked me to set up a schedule. Diddy asked me to make a spreadsheet of his Miami trip, and Diddy asked him why he should get the job. So he's telling about his interview process. He said he faxed in his resume and they gave him a call back and told him to come on in, right? And he said that uh Diddy asked him why should he hire him, and David James said that, oh my goodness. He said, I told him because I can't stop, won't stop. And he got the job. Now, if you don't know, that's one of Diddy's verses. He says of something he says in one of the songs he made or produced or something like that. He says, "Can't stop, won't stop." And the guy said he can't because he can't stop, won't stop. And Diddy gave him the job. No, you was gonna get the job anyway, sir, because you had the qualifications, and it sounds like Diddy runs through a lot of personal assistants real quick, so he probably got the job by default. But he believes it was because he said can't stop, won't stop. Let's see here. The government asks, "What did you do as an assistant for Bad Boy?" He said he would work until about 5 p.m. with Bad Boy, and then he said after that he would go to dinner with Diddy. Then he would go to the studio, and then they would have to wait around until the end of the night until Diddy said when they could leave. The government asked, "Did you travel with Diddy?" David James said yes. Who was the security staff? He was asked by the government. David James said D Rock, Roger Bonds, and Uncle Paulie. You work 20 hours a day, correct? David James said yes. He said, so did the security. What's up, Dwight? What's going on? I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Yes, thank you so much for joining my channel, you guys. Again, I'm going over today's trial, pretty much like day 6 of the Diddy trial here. And David James is on the stand. Okay, he was a personal assistant for Diddy. Yeah, and the government subpoenaed him. So let's see here. So James said that, oh, excuse me, that he worked 20 hours a day, him and the security team, he said. James said that he sometimes worked for 3 weeks straight with no day off. James said he would arrive at Diddy's house before Diddy woke up, and he would get the chef to make sure the breakfast was ready before Diddy woke up. Said he provided Diddy with documents that needed approvals. He he made his daily schedule for Diddy. He said he told him about any news stories that involved him. The government asks, who is this, showing a picture of Chef Jordan or Jordan, is it Atkinson? Um, the government asks, what was your first conversation with Cassie? Asking David James. And she said, this lifestyle is crazy. David said he heard Diddy say, Kim's my queen and Cassie is out in LA. Oh, no. David said he heard Diddy say, Kim is my queen with my family, and Cassie is young and moldable. So I guess the government brought David James, the old personal assistant for Diddy. I guess the reason for them bringing him in is to show that employees were overworked and underpaid. Also, he saw the the beating and abuse that Cassie was going through as well. He was an employee, so he was working without getting paid. He also saw or was witness to the security guards seeing a whole lot of stuff, and other personal assistants and other employees of Diddy's that wasn't doing anything to help Cassie. But so I guess I could see why they brought him in, because he would be credible in a lot of different areas, especially when you're talking about racketeering and that ST, the ST, the racketing, right? So David James also testified that he also set up some rooms for the freak off as well. So let's see here. Okay, so James was a private assistant for Diddy from 2007 until 2009. So remember, the security guards have been stopping people from leaving, going and finding people and bringing them back to Diddy, setting off freak offs, assisting with setting up the hotels and flights and stuff, taking Cassie's phones and other people's phones and property and stuff. So I just said that, but I'm assuming that's what David James's testimony is pretty much going to be about, showing that the staff was mistreated overworked and underpaid, if they even got paid. Um, the government asked, "Did you ask Cassie why she stays?" And he said, "Yes." She said, "Diddy pays for my apartment, my phone, my car. He controls her music." And then they went on a break. Then let's see here. So today, TMZ showed a lot of pictures of Cassie being abused, like, well, not being abused, showed pictures of Cassie with like a cut on her eye up here, and you can see it's a little knot there. They also showed Cassie with a fat lip. So I was surprised that TMZ showed pictures of Cassie, the aftermath of Cassie being assaulted and abused. And they also showed pictures of the hotel room where Diddy got arrested at. So if you don't remember, Diddy was walking with a whole bunch of guys, and they were coming back into the hotel, and the Homeland Security was already there waiting to lock Diddy up. Soon as he came in, they handcuffed him and took him upstairs. So they took him upstairs, and they found a whole bunch of stuff going on in the room. It looked like the room was already being set up for a freak off, which was weird because he was downstairs with a whole bunch of friends. So I'm thinking maybe he had like rented a couple different hotel rooms, so that wasn't his only hotel room there, because this room was set up for a freak off. So I was trying to figure out where all those guys were going, because I know he didn't invite all of them to the freak off. But in this room, and TMZ has the picture, so you guys go check out TMZ, the pictures from Diddy's hotel room, because they got all the scoop. I saw them. I saw the pictures, but I didn't even upload them here. But anyway, yeah, so you guys go check that out. But it's weird because Diddy, the medications, the pill bottles that were found in that hotel room had the name Frank Black on them. And we know that because of this testimony, Cassie testified and said that Diddy would go by the name Frank Black. But if you guys remember, Biggie Smalls would go by the name Frank White. Boo. Woo. Okay. What's up with that? Now that's weird. I thought that was real weird, because Biggie Smalls would go by the name Frank White in his music, and then Diddy used the name Frank Black when he was in hotels and stuff, and for the prescription medications. So who is this Frank that's letting people call him white and black and getting prescriptions in his names and in his name and hotels and stuff? But yeah, I thought that was real crazy. But that's all the notes I have for today, you guys. From the trial, like I said, the trial ended early today. It ended around 3-ish. Of course, the defense was going back and forth about documents and testimony that they didn't want to hear, but they had to suffer through and hear because it was going down regardless. I'm glad the judge did let Dawn speak. And yeah, I can't wait to hear more testimony from David James to see what he has to say, because I believe he has a lot more to say. But yeah, I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Also, Cassie's mom is supposed to be testifying as well. Supposedly, Cassie is at home, wherever that is, somewhere. And you know her husband has to testify as well. So Alex Fine has to testify still. Cassie's mom still has to testify. And I'm pretty sure they're not finished with David James. And the government is probably going to try, I'm sorry, not the government, the defense is probably going to try and get Cassie to come back and do another testify again. I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, so tomorrow should definitely be just as interesting, you guys. If you have any questions, we could definitely talk about it in the chat. Thank you all so much for listening to my commentary about today's trial. What do you guys think about everything that's going on? How do you feel about Don Richard's testimony? The new PA that we just heard testify, David James. Like, what do you guys think? What are y'all thinking about all this information that's coming up? All these people who saw Cassie being beat down like a dog and didn't even help. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, you probably would have to shoot Diddy. Like, that's it. You will have to shoot him and probably his whole crew, because if you shoot him, his crew might just jump on you, or they might not. They might just look at you and be like, yeah, he deserved that. Who gonna call the police or clean this up? Like, but Diddy did a lot of hurtful stuff. Even Roger Bonds was also talking about, how he didn't want to work for Diddy anymore, and then he ended up moving over to the Ciroc business. But I'm thinking he's probably going to have to testify as well. And I mean, he should be used to it because Roger Bonds has been doing a lot of interviews. So he probably is going to have to testify. His name done came up a lot. Gene Deal name hasn't come up at all. I'm not surprised though, because that wasn't his time frame there. Gene Deal's time frame was pretty much when Kim and Diddy was messing around, and Diddy was messing with Misa as well. And it's crazy because Misa and Kim were friends, and then supposedly Kim and Sarah were friends. And then, Diddy got with Kim, Sarah, Misa. He had a baby by all the friends. See, like he had a baby by the girls and their friends. But Cassie wanted to be a baby mama real bad by Diddy. She wanted that status. And she didn't get it. But I mean, even though she got her behind whipped bad, okay, she did get a lot of money in the end because she sued Diddy, got the 20 million, then she just got the 10 million, so she got about 30 million. So she's sitting real pretty. She's sitting real pretty now, even though I'm sure it's very traumatic for her. But I mean, why wouldn't it be? you know she was messing with a demon. Demon spawn, okay? Well, I don't know that Diddy wanted to make her his baby mama because he kept her separate. Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, like, I don't feel like Diddy cared for Cassie like he cared for Kim. So he wasn't gonna let Cassie have no baby by him because he wouldn't let Gina have no baby by him. And to me, Gina and Cassie are in the same boat. I mean, they really were doing the same thing, was just pretty much like his freak off partner. They both care a whole lot for him, and he beat both of them like it was no one's business. Well, he can control getting someone pregnant because he has the sperm. If you giving them the sperm without a condom, then of course you can get them pregnant. But if you're also calling One Stop, and One Stop has plan B's and birth control, then you can control who gets pregnant. Yeah, but he loved Kim though. That's the point I'm trying to make. I feel like Diddy cared for Kim in a in like a loving way. He cared for her. With Cassie, I don't feel like he like loved her. I feel like he played with her. Like that was his plaything. Because he was already like way too old to be messing with Cassie anyway. Well, he beat up everybody, even his staff. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not an abuser. I don't know why people beat up people like they do, but I'm saying that I believe Cassie wanted a baby. She wanted that kind of family with Diddy. He would not give that to her. It's obvious because he didn't. Okay. And I bet she probably got pregnant a number of times and probably had to give up that pregnancy. But no one even asked her about having abortions or um, losing a baby or anything. So I'm pretty sure she probably had an abortion or two or got pregnant or something and something happened. I bet you. Because Gina got pregnant. Gina told it on Tasha K that she got pregnant and the baby was stumped out of her. Oh, wow. 350 million? What? I'm trying to figure out why Cassie needed money from the hotel. What did they not do? Because she knew what she was doing with this being with this guy. And then when security came, she even went back to the room, which I wouldn't even went to the room. I would have said, "Take me, walk me downstairs so I can get in the cab and go." But that whole thing was strange. How once the security guard came and she didn't leave still, she stayed around. She went back in the room because Diddy had took her stuff. She went back in the room and then she left out. No, she already sued the hotel. They paid out last week or the week before that. I still don't understand why the hotel had to pay her 10 million. It don't make sense to me why they would have to pay her 10 million because the security guard testified that they wasn't even watching the tape, the footage at the time. She had made a call up there and he looked at the camera and he saw a guy in a towel, so he thought, but it was actually a bathrobe. And he didn't see Cassie, he just saw a guy in the bathrobe. And he said he went down there and he, of course, had to deal with both of them. Once he got Diddy straight, Cassie left. He went and checked the video. He played the video back, and then that's when they saw what had happened. That's what the security guard testified to. But yeah, that's real crazy. I don't know. I was just trying to figure out why the hotel paid her off so late. Seemed like they would have been paid her off, but why? But I do know court cases take a long time too. You can have court cases that last, or especially like when you're talking about settlements, those can last for years and years and years. Could go on 4, 5, 6, 7 years at a time. So maybe she did try to sue them way back in the day, and then they just settled. What, about a week ago? But I still don't understand why they would need to pay her. I don't get that part. Because think about it, like if you have a whole bunch of areas to watch on a cam, like, and it's just one security guard, you can't see everything that's going on in the hotel. And soon as Cassie called for backup, the security guard went right up there to help out. So I don't know. I don't know. It's still strange to me why she would have needed to get paid $10 million. But I don't know. But yeah, back to my point I was trying to make. I don't feel like Diddy actually cared about Cassie. I felt like Cassie was a pretty young girl. Like the personal assistant said, David James, he said that he heard Diddy say that Cassie was just a young girl he can mold. And I could believe that because if he was on rugs like he was, okay, he all messed up in the mind. He's not caring about nobody in particular. He made no woman his wife. So to care about a woman in that way would have to be a very special woman. And I felt like Kim already played that role. Even though it don't make sense why he would need Love's mom, because I don't know. I think that might have been some type of deal or something too, because Love's mom allegedly works for or worked for some type of security company. So like she had access to look at security footage or probably tap into um, security, do security breaches or something. Ain't no telling with that. But I don't know why people do what they do, but I don't feel like Diddy loved Cassie. I feel like he wanted to use her. She was a part of him coming out, for himself. Like he could have did that with Kim, which he probably did. And I swear that book that they made about Kim, he is definitely. But that book that supposedly was Kim's last word or whatever, why that story sounds like Cassie's story. I bet Misha's story probably sound like that also. He probably, just does that with everyone. But when I think back about the stories that was said Kim was going through, it sounds like Cassie's situation. And then Diddy takes care of all the women so he can control them. But it makes me wonder: is Young Miami, was she going through all that? Was she getting her butt whipped just like Cassie, Kim, Misa, all of them were? Gina were being abused. Was Young Miami doing the same thing? We know she was on payroll. She talked about it. She was so in love with Diddy. Like, I don't know if y'all seen any lives with her and Diddy, but I remember watching lives with Young Miami and Diddy just because I like to see people's reactions. And Diddy would talk and Young Miami would be so alert. She would be like, yes, uh-huh, uh-huh, yes, okay, no, you want to do that? Oh, okay, yeah, it's shot o'clock time, it's shot o'clock. I'm like, girl, he abusing you. You could tell. You could tell. And Cassie said that he would abuse her so bad, he would sneak her in hotels because of how badly her face was beaten. They would have to sneak her in hotels she would have to stay there for weeks at a time until she healed. One time he beat her up and she even had to go immediately that same day to a plastic surgeon to get surgery. He's definitely a nutcase. And on top of all that, this case isn't even talking about all the people supposedly he done deleted. So, yeah, it don't look good. It don't look good for Diddy. And, is this his karma? What y'all think? But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for participating. FBA, thank you so much for having a conversation with me in the chat. I really appreciate it. Yes, I do. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I will be back with the latest tomorrow. Of course, y'all know I'm going over the case after the case done already been done, getting my notes and bringing it back to you all so we could talk about it. So yeah, you guys, yeah, have a good evening. Thank you so much, FBA, again, Chris, for being on my live. I really appreciate it. You guys have a good evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow. All right. Bring your questions. All right, you guys. Peace.